Hey everybody, welcome to Can Scale Modeling. Today we're just gonna talk about modeling. Gonna start at the beginning. So if you're a beginner, or maybe you've done one or two but you got some questions, hopefully this will help you out. First thing we're gonna talk about is you sit down, you decide you want to build a model. What on earth do you need to get that done? Well, not a lot. Now, if you go online or you go into different groups and say, what do I need for modeling? You are going to get so many different answers, and you're going to get everything from basic tools to high-end tools to fancy tools. No, you don't. Especially if you're just beginning. You don't need to go spend tons of money to get into the hobby, okay? Basically what you're going to need, you're going to need something to cut with. You can use an X-Acto knife. If you want to get fancy, you can get these little sprue cutters. Not necessary, helpful, but not necessary. At the very least, you just need something to cut with. And you can pick up X-Acto knives for a couple bucks on Amazon. You can pick them up in any hobby store. You can pick them up all over the place. I've even seen some people use box cutters. That's a little heavy-handed for me, but I guess it would work. It's just a razor blade. So yeah, so you need something to cut with. You're going to use this for so much. You can use this to remove the parts off the sprues. You're going to use this to clean up. You're going to use this to trim and all kinds of stuff. So that's very important. Tweezers of some kind. No, you don't need to go out and get a whole set of $50 electronics fine whatever tweezers. You don't need all these fancy shapes. You just need a basic set of tweezers. For the longest time I used the ones that came in nail kits. They're not ideal, but they do the trick. At least to get you going. At the very least, just one decent set of tweezers. You can use these for small parts, manipulating small things, maybe even some Dee-kal work. So that's it. Tweezers. Gonna need some glue. Unless you're doing a snap tight or what they call push together, which is fine if you're doing one of those. Do not need cement, glue, cement. Basically, you got two kinds. You got the liquid kind, and this is the Tamiya extra thin version. But you can also, Revell makes a version. Plastaweld makes a version. All kinds of Mr. Color or Mr. Hobby makes a version. Liquid cement or the tube. I don't have one to show you, but it's the good old-fashioned testers in the orange tube. There's a blue tube also, which is a non-toxic version. It's got a citrusy smell. I really don't recommend that one because, at least for me, I've never had it work. But the orange one, been used by many modelers for many years. I find it a little messy. It gets stringy, a little harder to control. But it is cheaper, so if you want to go that route, you certainly can. I like the liquid. Tends to go farther, work faster. Yeah, so cement. And the other thing you're gonna need is something to sand with. Now, there's all kinds of options for that. You got sanding sticks, you got sanding pads. You can use just good old-fashioned sandpaper. Go to a hardware store, pick up a pack or a roll of sandpaper. Just something that you can use to clean edges, clean surfaces, etc. Doesn't need to be aggressive. It's plastic. It's not that hard. See, this one's a 600. This one's 1,000. And these are what I use for most of the stuff that I do. Anything more aggressive and you end up taking away too much material, and then you end up having seams and gaps. And for some kids, there's enough of that already. You don't need to go adding more. So, really, that's all you need to build it. So, you don't need to break the bank, and you don't need all these fancy tools, and you don't need all this stuff. This will get you going. And if you get into the hobby and you enjoy it, you're going to find yourself thinking, geez, I wish I had whatever. By all means, go get it then. But you don't need to go blow hundreds of dollars just to get the tools to start building. So yeah, there's that. Next thing to consider is paint. If you want to finish your model, again, that was for building your model. If you want to finish your model, you're going to need paint. And you're going to need brushes. And again, you don't need to go break the bank. You just need an assortment of brushes, different sizes, different types. These are the ones that I use most often, and that's it. I got you got a wide one. I think this is a 5/8. Yeah, 5/8 for big surfaces. So you can see that here. Then we got a number 4, number 1, 0, and a 12/0. These are kind of for more fine-tuned stuff. This is for general purpose, and I use that for all my wide areas. Again, none of these are expensive. These actually came in a $30 set of like 20-something brushes. That's actually, that is a little more than you need to spend. I think this came in a set. It was like $10, and you got one of each size. Hobby Lobby, I believe, is where I got this. I've had this thing for years. Yeah, so that's what you need. Brushes. Again, don't have to go spend a lot of money. Don't have to break the bank. You're gonna get people who say, "Oh, you need red sable for this, or natural hair for that, or synthetics, or these high-end brushes." No, you're just starting. See if you like it. See if you enjoy it. See if it's something that you want to pursue. Then sink the money into it. Really, the only thing you get out of higher-end brushes is they last a little longer. They retain their tips a little better. In some cases, they might paint it a little bit better for the bigger ones. Now, you don't want cheapo brushes. That is true. But you don't need to go spend a ton of money. And then to actually do the painting, you're going to need some colors. That's where it gets a little tricky. After all, you pick up your model, how do you know what colors to get? Well, let's start with, for example, the one that I'm going to be building for this little series here. This is a Tamiya M5 A1 US Light Tank. And if we take a look at the box, we can see it doesn't really tell us. It doesn't tell us what colors. Some will. Some companies out there will have on the side the colors that you need, and that's really nice. If you're shopping online, you go to a hobby store, you can just take a look at that, pick up what you need. Others don't. So what do? Well, if you're buying it online, if you're lucky, in the preview, wherever you buy it in the shopping, in the shopping cart maybe, or somewhere where the product details are, they might have a picture of the instructions. You can zoom in and take a look. If that doesn't happen, you can hop online to one of the many different groups out there and ask someone, do they have it? That's a little longer term. You might not get answers, and probably more than you need to do. Or you can go to a place like ScaleMates, scalemates.com. That is a site that has a database of thousands of kits spanning decades, and a lot of them will actually have a copy of the instructions. You can take a look there. Or you just order it, get it home, and open it up. Now, if you buy it in the hobby store, if you're actually lucky enough to find a brick and mortar hobby store, a lot of times, most of the time, in fact, I've never seen it not happen. You go up to the guy behind the counter and say, "Look, I want to buy this. Can I open it up, take a look at the instructions so I know what to buy?" Usually they'll be more than happy to do it because, well, you're buying more stuff. So, either way, say you get the kit, you get home, and you don't know what colors you need. Well, gotta go inside. So, like I said, I'm gonna build this. You got your model, you ordered it, it came in, you went to the store, you got home, you got this nice shrink-wrapped, clean, full of possibilities. Anything can happen. So let's crack it open. You're not gonna get a lot of edits on this one, by the way. I'm just not gonna edit. Hey, I'm stupid, right? I could just use the hobby knife. I'm not gonna be doing a lot of edits. I just gotta give it a shot without it. Hopefully you guys don't mind. If you do and you like all the edits and the jump cuts and all that kind of stuff, let me know and I'll start doing that. But I'm just gonna kind of go with it a little bit. It's a fun hobby, it's a relaxing hobby, it doesn't need to be all fancy video and stuff. But anyways, enough of that. So, what happens when you open the box? Crack it open. Yeah, got a whole bunch of parts. And right off the bat, take a quick look. Alright, we got rubber band tracks. Not bad. To me, these are the easiest, so that's good. It's a good start. If you happen to be building a tank yourself, you could find these. You might find link and length. You might find individuals. We're not going to get into all that. Like I said, for the series, I'm going to build this one, so we're going to focus on what this one comes with. I'll make other videos about all that other stuff. And before we get into the parts, we were talking about the paint, so where are you going to figure that out? You're going to figure that out in the paperwork. And that is going to be in the instructions. Now, if you're doing a Tamiya, usually there's 2 sets. One in Japanese, one in English. That's probably the Japanese one. My Japanese is non-existent, so I'll put that aside. And take a look at the English instructions. What does it got? What does it say? What does it say? Somewhere here should be. Yeah, there we go. So, in this particular kit, this is an older kit, it's just giving you a list. And this is nice. It's a nice generic list. It's just giving you the colors. You got black, flesh, olive green, red, brown, gloss red, matte brown, metallic gray, olive drab, matte white, and gunmetal. The reason I say this is nice is it's not going to confuse anybody. It's not going to confuse you by giving you brand names, color codes, and any of that kind of stuff. Some kits you're going to say, some of the newer kits especially is going to say buy Tamiya XF1, Tamiya XF2. Those are the color codes for Tamiyas. Something like this. You're going to see Tamiya with these little XF numbers here. So you can see that. I don't know if I'm going to get it. There you go. So that's if you see that. Others are going to suggest, like Airfix is going to suggest Humbrol. Others are going to, there's a company out there that will suggest AK colors. So the first question that I actually see a lot of people asking in the forums and stuff is, do I need to use all the colors that come in this? There's actually 2 answers to that. 2. 1, no. This is the list of colors you need to use if you want to paint it exactly like the kit says. So as you're going through the instructions, it's going to call out colors. If you want to follow it exactly, like here's a matte black. It'll tell you what to color and where. If you want to follow it exactly, yeah, you need those colors. If you want to do a more simplistic version, you can look at the list, figure out what you want to do, go through the instructions, see what it's saying, and remove colors. You can even add colors, you can change colors, you can do whatever you want. It's your model. That's going to be something you're going to hear me say a lot. It's your model. You paid for it. You're taking the time. You're putting in the effort. You do what you want. Okay? So yeah, you don't have to buy all those. You can just buy the ones, the key ones, the important ones, the main ones. You can buy different ones. You can buy alternatives. A second part to that, though, that I see a lot of people ask is, for example, when you open up a kit and it says Tamiya matte black, Tamiya matte flesh, do you need to buy that brand? Not at all. Not at all. All that is the company makes the paints, so of course they're going to want you to buy their paint. So they're going to suggest their line, their colors, their numbers. Every model paint company out there has versions or variations or similarities or the exact same colors. Some have more. Some, which are more strictly paint, have many, many more. You get into Vallejo, AK, Mr. Color, Tamiya, Humbrol, Testers. Lots of companies out there, all kinds of different costs, all kinds of different availability depending on where you're at. So no, you do not have to buy the exact brands that they say. Especially if you get into modeling and you end up buying different companies. You're not going to buy 3 blacks all from different companies just because the instruction said it's alright. Now that'd be silly. You could, by all means, again, your model, your time, you can do it, but no. So the other question is, what's the best paint to buy? Well, another thing you're going to hear me saying a lot is, there isn't the best. There's so little in this hobby where there's a definitive, absolutely industry standard best of anything. After all, if there was, everybody would be buying it, right? All of them are different. All of them are good for different things. At some point I'll do a more focused video on the types of paints, get into it a little bit more, but for the purposes of this, basically, you have 3 kinds of paints. You have water-based, you have enamels, and you have lacquers. Me personally, I stick with water-based. Water-based have hardly any, if any, odor. They clean up with water. They brush incredibly well if it's Vallejo or AK 3rd Gen. They brush incredibly well. Wide variety of colors. No muss, no fuss. And if you get into airbrushes, they airbrush great as well. So I don't have very much ventilation. I don't like really messy cleanups. I don't like harsh chemicals. So I try to stay away from it. So I tend to use water-based. Tamiya is a slight abnormal acrylic, I guess. Well, not really. Most people, when you hear acrylic, you think water-based, and that is true most of the time. Tamiya's acrylics are actually alcohol-based. So it's kind of an acrylic that stands on its own. Enamels and lacquers are both chemical-based, petroleum-based. Usually have harsh smells, usually require special cleaners, special cleanup. But they're all fine. They're all fine paints. It really comes down to what you like, or what you're used to, or what you have available. So again, that's high level. I'll be, like I said, I'll be doing a video at some point, more detail on those. But basically, that's to me, that's the important part. Water-based, hardly any cleanup issues. Water-based, no smell. Enamels, lacquers, special thinners, special cleaners, special cleanup, and usually a harsh smell. So, what else do you get when you open up one of these kits? Well, if you're into the historical side and you do the military stuff, even the cars, actually, the cars will usually have some kind of blurb giving you a little bit of information about the actual vehicle that you're about to build. And it's going to give you, in addition to the instructions of actually how to build it, which is this part, starts here. You're going to get detailed, blown out steps. Just follow that, and your construction will go like a breeze. And then you'll end up also with a painting guide, so when it's done, where to apply your markings, where to apply your decals, all that kind of stuff. That brings up another one, decals. Well, depending on where you're from, you're going to hear Dee-kal, you're going to hear Deckle, you're going to hear Deh-kal. They're all the same thing. They're all fine. No single one is right, no single one is wrong. Have fun with the debate, have fun with the controversy, because it's hilarious. But yeah, same thing. And all the decal is where did mine go? Where did mine go? There you go. Decals are these little sheets. Usually called water. They're also called water slide transfers. These little sheets, a little. Come on, you're gonna come into focus. There we go. These are all white, so of course they're gonna look really good. But these are just some pre-done markings. You soak them in water. You slide them onto the vehicle, the model, and it helps you detail it out a little bit more without having to freehand or free paint these things. There are some people out there who will freehand these markings. My hat's off to them. That is amazing. I don't have that level of skill or patience, so I don't. Maybe someday you will, and that's fantastic. That's awesome. So there you go. Oh, now Tamiya is nice that once you open the box, it'll actually tell you a bunch of tools that you need. Again, you know, it's got basically the same things I said. You got your tweezers, you got your cement, you got your sandpaper, your paints, your brushes. It suggests scissors for your decal. If you have a small pair of scissors, again, you can actually use, you know, these are from a pharmacy over in the nail care aisle. You can do that if you want. Not necessarily. Most of the stuff that I use, or most of the time, I use my hobby knife to cut out the details. And again, they're also mentioning the side cutters, which I showed you in the beginning. If you have the extra money and you can pick up the side cutters, by all means, they will make removing the pieces from the sprue that much easier. A little clumsy there. That much easier. But if you don't, well, the hobby knife is going to do you just fine. So there's that. Now, sometimes it will mention a screwdriver or pin vise with a drill bit and a screwdriver. Some kits actually will have you drilling out small holes. Some kits will actually have screws. Not all. That's why I didn't include it in the what you need to build all kits. You're going to want to look at your specific kit, and if it calls it out, check the instructions and see what it's actually doing, and decide if you need it yourself or not. So when you have your instructions, where'd mine go? Oh, there's a little supplementary for the figures. I am not probably going to be doing the figures for this series because I'm not good at it at all. I might do one just for the fun of it and show you just how not good I am, but we'll see. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know if that'd be of interest or not. Kind of a train wreck, but you know, whatever. So, the instructions themselves, what are they telling you? Well, they're telling you which part you're going to need to assemble, and where, and how, and when. So let me take all of these out. Probably one of the few edits I'm going to do. I'll fast forward as I open all these, just because this is not very exciting. So yeah, just hold on a second. All right, so there we go. All the parts are out. Now, being you know, it's a 1/35th model, but actually, maybe we should talk about that. You know, when you're picking up your model, you're gonna see this little number here. 1/35th, 1/48th, 1/72nd, 1/144th, etc., etc., etc. That's the scale of the model, and basically, again, we can do a whole video on what that means and where it comes from, etc. But for the purposes of this, all that means is it's a ratio of units, where both sides of the ratio are the same unit. And in this case, 1/35th is 1 inch on the model equals 35 inches on the real thing. The easiest one for me is 1/72nd, because that basically means 1 inch equals 72 inches, which is 6 feet, so 1 inch equals 6 feet. And that's why the figures will be 1 inch tall, etc. But in this case, it's 1 inch equals 35 inches. It helps as you do more models to kind of figure out how big the subject is you're about to build. The bigger the number on the right hand side, the smaller the scale. So if it's a small vehicle, then the smaller the scale, the smaller the model. 1/35th is actually a very common size and a very decent size to work with, but this particular vehicle in real life isn't very big. You can actually tell from the picture the size of the people on it. So the model itself is not very big. In fact, here's the chassis and the top. It's not going to be a very big model when it's done. So it's going to have a lot of small parts. It's something to consider when you're buying a model. Is especially if you've never done one before, is potentially how many small parts in that. And again, go to a place like ScaleMates. You can actually check out the model and get some idea. You can also hop on forums and groups and even YouTube to check out. Maybe there's a particular one you want to build. You can find videos of just about every model has been built by somebody somewhere, and they've thrown it up on YouTube. And some have done fantastic jobs. Anyways, so when you build this thing, you're gonna look at your instructions. It's going to give you these little numbers: A26, A27, C4. In this case, lower hull. Well, lower hull is the piece that I just showed you, so that's easy, right? That's the lower hull. What about these other ones? Well, that's what these come in. Again, I know if you've built these before, then you already know this. This is for the brand new beginners, never built a model, has no idea what's going on, or just has never heard these words before. So those numbers and letters correspond to these sprues, which is what the tree, I've heard them called tree sprues, runners. Sprue is the most common. Plastic parts, when the plastic is injected into the molds, they kick out sprues. And the sprues are classified by, let's see if I can get that. Can I get that? You got a letter, and then each part is gonna have. That's not gonna be. That's gonna be harder, isn't it? Maybe you can see that. Sorry if you can't. And a number. So this is sprue B, and then you got part 11, part 10, 8s, 14s. So for this, you would end up grabbing sprue A, sprue C, lower hull, removing your parts, and assembling step by step by step. So I think I'm gonna stop here for now. Like I said, this was just gonna be a real basic, before you even start beginning, what does some of this stuff means. And I just wanted to hit some of the questions that I see a lot of people ask. Mainly, again, what are the tools that you need? You need something to cut with, tweezers to make your life easier, something to sand with, something to cement with. And then if you want to paint, you need paints and you need brushes. What paints do you get? Either on the side of the box, it'll tell you the colors for some of the companies, or you need to actually get into the instructions, check out a place like ScaleMates. And then I have no affiliation with them, by the way. It's just a place that I happen to go to, and I think has a great service. So I don't get any kickbacks or anything from that. I just think it's helpful. Or you can go online to any of the Instagram, Facebook, TikToks, whatever, wherever you're Reddit, wherever you're comfortable. There's modeling groups, and you can ask questions and people will answer. Or you wait and get the model in hand and open it up and look at the instructions. You don't need to buy all the colors. In fact, if you look at some models, they'll have like 50 colors, I swear. It seems like they have that many, especially the cars. And in some cases, you're going to find like black you can use for one little part. Well, sure. If you got the money and you got the resources, buy every color under the sun and do exactly what the instructions say. Otherwise, just go through the instructions, see where the colors are being used, see which ones you want to use, and go from there. It's, again, your model, your time. You do with it what you want. And then basically, what are these parts? What do they mean? What do the letters and numbers mean? A little bit on what scale means. Like I said, this is just going to be a high-level, quick discussion. Hopefully I helped you. If not, let me know what I could do better. I know I've been doing this. I've been doing this thing for about a year, but really it's been just trying to feel my way around things and figure it out. I enjoy building I enjoy building models. I enjoy helping people. That's my goal. So by all means, I take any and all feedback. Praise me, roast me, ignore me, whatever. I'm good. Just let me know. Oh yeah, then I wanted to touch on the whole Dee-kal thing. Dee-kal, Deckle, Deh-kal. Remember, they're all the same thing. Yeah, that's about it. Just high level. Again, hopefully I helped. And hopefully you come back for the next one. The next video in this series, we're going to actually start building this thing. And going through how to assemble parts, how to use the tools, how to cement. And then we'll get into how to finish. Might get into some weathering later on. But yeah, that's it. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. And I hope to see you when I get the next one out. Have a great one. See ya.